Hi everyone, it's me, Jordan Long here, and today I'm going to talk about folks who have this war or on like a fight between Google Android and Apple iOS and which one's more good. Well, when you have this talk with your friend or your kin or whatever, you got to keep in mind the upsides to Google Android and Apple iOS. How Google Android gives you some freedom to shift how things on Google Android looks like. Not how they run like, but at least how they look like. You have freedom when it comes to shifting how the dashboard looks like. Apple iOS, you don't have that freedom. With Apple iOS, you have the good looking, setup, but you cannot shift anything. And for some folks, and so you can't shift how things look like on your dashboard. You have to leave it the way it is. And that's where the unlikeness comes in from. Oh, Jordan, you're telling me you still with Google Android? Yes, I still with Google Android. Good or bad? Well, you should be with Apple iOS. Why? Because it looks more clean. It looks more good, you know? Yes, it's true, Roxanne, that Apple iOS gives a more clean look for one's far wide speaker. But ask me this, do you have the freedom to shift how everything on your board top looks like? No, I don't have that freedom. I can't shift how everything on my board top looks like. Well, that is one thing you can do on Google Android is that you have a little more freedom to shift how things look like on your on your board top. I don't know if that's a upper hand or not. I don't know if that makes I don't think that makes Google Android more good than Apple iOS. But at the end of the day, that is something that Android lets you do if you want to do it. Something that iOS doesn't let you do it even if you wanted to. Oh well, does it start up with that Apple thing? Because we all know all Apple reckoners and all Apple far wide speakers start up with the Apple thing. No, it has to be sundry between whoever made it. If it was Motorola or Samsung or LG or Google themselves, it starts up with whatever. So yeah, I don't get this Apple thing starting up. I get Mola Hello, then go through scenes in the background with Think Shield, and then I'm into the board top. Yeah, well, mine starts up with the Apple thing in the background. And then, and then it loads into the board top. Tell me, how are updates handled, Jordan? Updates, how they're handled? You mean like how does Google Android handle updates? I don't know. They give two kind of updates. Updates for Google Android itself, and then updates for Google Play. Well, yeah, same here. I mean, Apple gives updates for Apple iOS and then the Apple Shop. About the same way, I think. Um, yeah, another thing, Roxanne, is that Apple far wide speakers tend to be worth a lot more than the Google ones. Yeah, you're right about that. You know. Oh, do you have? We got Apple Wisdom. Yes, but that was a deal that Apple and Google both had a deal. And yes, we got Google and Google Gemini or Google Twin. So yes, we have our own fake mind tool as far as you're asking about. But I still think at the end, well, I can't really come up with something else that would make Apple iOS greater than Google Android. Well, they're both good running layouts, even though you have to keep in mind some of the things that make them a little unlike. So, there you go. That's just my thought or my take on, this whole Google Android fight Apple iOS thing. And if you like this film, give it a like, share and playlist it, and I'll see you later.